To other topics.
And it is a great pleasure to introduce at the White House.
We have already told you essentially what they said, and that is that the FBI, ATF, all the federal agencies are responding. People from all over the country, obviously, first aid resources and rescue resources coming in from all over the state. The governor's activated the National Guard, the entire Department of Public Safety to help out with this huge explosion in downtown Oklahoma City. And RD, you have seen more of it than anybody. The destruction down there.
It's amazing. That building's not that old. It's a newer building. It's one of the bigger, more modern buildings in the city. Everyone's probably familiar with it. And to see more than half of it gone, you can actually stand to the south of it and look all the way through the building. So more than half of that building is gone.
How many people did you see while you were there covering it, coming out of the building?
Your tape right
many,
here.
and not just from that building. Surrounding buildings. There's surrounding buildings that are missing their facade.
What about specifically out of that building? That's a concern for many people who are watching. Certainly people have survived this, folks. We want to make that clear.
Well, unfortunately, it took me a while to get there, 15, 20 minutes. So I don't know how many people were actually, after the blast, able to walk out. While I was there, I did not see that many people come out. I'm assuming that they're trapped or that they're physically unable to get out. At the time that they were moving us back, they were sending in a massive amount of personnel, medical personnel, backboard stretchers, that kind of thing. So I believe that there are many people inside the building. Actually, if we rewound this tape further, you would see people standing in the windows up on the 4th and 5th floor.
We want to get back to you in a second. R.D. Rowland is a photographer who shot these pictures from right down there on the street. He's got a lot of experience with this. His wife is also a nurse, so we'll talk to you more in a minute, perhaps about some injuries and things. Right now, Tammy Payne's in the Live Center with some new information. Tammy?
We have a slew of people in here, Kelly, Jennifer, as you know, bringing in more information that we want to pass along. Right now, we're getting new word from Civil Defense. New word, if you have a loved one downtown, they're asked that you not call now the numbers we gave. They're asking you to please get off the phone so they can call you. Apparently, many people downtown are trying to call home to notify their loved ones, and the best bet now is to stay off the phone. They've got them in facilities where they can call family members. So toss out those numbers and do get off the phone, and that's your best chance to hear from someone downtown. We're also getting word from the airport. Tom Morton from Will Rogers says they have swept airport terminals as a precaution. They have received no directives from the FAA or FBI to take any precautionary measures beyond that, but they are ready to if they get the call. At this point, all flights are on schedule at Will Rogers Airport.
Tammy, let us tell you, we're just getting word now from down on the scene. Randy Rayner tells us they have found a third explosive device near the federal building.
And it may be, we're told that it may be bigger than the others. And we've just shown you the incredible destruction caused by what may have been an or several explosives. We don't know. We know that it was a bomb of some kind. How many, who planted them, that kind of stuff is all still up in the air. We have another important question that needs to be answered, and you may be able to help the folks at Veterans Hospital. Veterans Hospital is telling us that they have some kids there and they don't know who they are. They have had some kids who were injured taken to their hospital and they don't know who they are. If you are waiting for word on your kids, you may want to try to give them a call. I mean, we're hesitant to have you use the phones because there's a problem with that right now, but this is apparently a pretty urgent need. 270-5173 is the number at the VA hospital to call if you had kids in the center and have not been able to find out if they are okay. Loved ones only, please. If you are desperately trying to get information on a child that you think may have been in this daycare center, 270-5173 is the number at Veterans Hospital.
At this time, I know that a lot of people who have been joining us off and on throughout the morning. We want to recap for you what has happened in downtown Oklahoma City. A tragedy of this magnitude, certainly downtown Oklahoma City has not seen in decades. 9 o'clock this morning, if you were in the metro area, you heard it and you felt it. A massive explosion ripped through the Alfred P. Murrah Federal Building. That explosion was felt 80 miles away, and our first look at it from Ranger 9 was breathtaking. We're going to get that video.
Of the building?
That's the federal courthouse across the street.
Okay, there's the federal courthouse.
Our first look at it, that was our first look at the federal building, and it was just breathtaking. Hundreds of people work in that building. At about 10:30 this morning, after the smoke had cleared, people started running through downtown after a second explosive device was found. It was disarmed about 25 minutes after that.
Perhaps two. We were told perhaps two had been found.
And now we are told that a third explosive device has been found in the building, and we're told they are working on that right now.
So the first question has been answered. Was this some kind of just a freak accidental explosion of some kind, or was it intentional? We know now. The ATF is confirming, federal officials saying now, yes, it was a man-made explosive that caused the damage. We are told, and it is confirmed now, that they have found one or more other explosives at the scene, either in or near the building. At least one of those has been disarmed, but there is still a fear of another possible explosive device at the scene. Randy Renner on the scene telling us that they have found another explosive device. The Oklahoma County Bomb Squad, explosive experts from the Department of Public Safety, from the Oklahoma City Police Department, the Oklahoma City Fire Department Hazardous Materials Unit. You can see IMSA responding there. All of them on the scene and trying to first take care of first aid needs. And of course now they'll be looking at other security concerns in downtown, trying to secure the scene, get everybody back as well as they can, figure out what's going on, and defuse anything that they find there.
Newslight 9 Cynthia Gunn has joined us on the set right now. Cynthia, tell us about the information you're getting.
Well, I tell you what, I've just returned from University Hospital, where it's just a shuttle of ambulances, one after another, bringing in victims. We have the latest information now. 60 adults have been brought in. You're looking at video now that we just brought back.
All right, be careful. Let's just warn them now, Cynthia, that this is raw tape that we shot at the hospital, and we have not censored this in any way, so you may see some graphic stuff.
Yeah, they're pretty much, the victims have broken bones, cuts and bruises and burns. 60 adults are being taken care of now at University Hospital. At Children's Hospital, there are 10 children and 5 adults at that facility. They range in fair to critical condition, and a sad note here, the ages are from 2 months to 18 years old at Children's Hospital. Bad situation.
Cynthia, we've been told earlier that there were confirmed reports that 6 children were killed in this explosion. Do we have anything more on that?
Not from University Hospital,
Okay.
but I do understand that is a confirmed number from the officials at the scene.
At the scene.
Yeah.
So those perhaps, our assumption would be that those were children that were found dead at the scene and were not transported
Exactly.
or treated in any way.
Exactly.
And that's the worst fear within probably 45 minutes or half an hour when we determined that there was still a daycare center inside this building. Our worst fear was that there would be fatalities, and it appears at this point that there were.
I have to tell you that the officials and the hospital personnel at University Hospital and Children's, and certainly St. Anthony's, all of the hospital facilities are responding. I mean, doctors and nurses that were off duty were coming in, rushing in. They are totally organized. There is no chaos there at all. It's called Condition Black. And we have, 30 or 40 different hospital personnel who are standing outside of the emergency room waiting for the ambulances to come up, and they've got their teams ready, and they take the people and they get in and they get them treated. So that's what's happening.
They have a plan for this kind of thing. I mean, it may look perhaps chaotic to us because we don't understand it, but they plan for this kind of an emergency and how to respond.
Exactly. And the plan is working, as you can see there. The teams are getting the patients in and getting them treated. And you can imagine with that many 60 adults, they're getting taken care of.
Tammy?
Cindy, you're talking about the children. We want to pass this along. We just got it. There are 2 children under the age of 1 who are fine. They are uninjured, but they can't find their parents. And right now, 2 children from this building are at Memorial Hospital at 921 Northeast 13th. So 2 children, we're assuming, from that daycare center, from that area, uninjured, a boy and a girl, and they are lost. They're at Memorial Hospital, 921 Northeast 13th is where they were taken. Lee Hunter, if you want to, this is the individual to contact, VA Police and Security, and I have a number. VA Police and Security, 270-5173. That's 270-5173. 2 children from this explosion, a boy and a girl under the age of 1 year, 12 months or younger, and they are uninjured. Cynthia, Kelly, Jennifer.
You know, one thing we should probably point out to you, to those of you watching this video, because of the nature of flying glass at the building, a lot of these injuries will turn out to look worse than they are, because facial injuries bleed a lot. There's going to be a lot of facial injury, a lot of bleeding, and some of these people will perhaps look a little worse than they are, and they'll be quickly cleaned up and treated, and probably, hopefully, not so many of the injuries will be as life-threatening as they may appear from our video.
Well, and it's certainly a possibility that some of those injuries are coming from surrounding buildings because many windows were blown out.
Oh, absolutely. It's an incredible sight to behold, frankly. You know, the patients being unloaded and just the trauma of their injuries. It's a really sad thing.
Then we want to say about the explosion, 9 o'clock this morning, it was apparently a bomb, is the word. That's the theory that the federal investigators are working on.
All right, and you can see here, this is a Mercy ambulance unit that probably came from Bethany, Yukon, Mustang area. I've seen paramedics that I know work in Shawnee, some that work in Piedmont. They have come in from all over. IMSA will also do a good job of moving resources out of Tulsa, bringing them down the turnpike and having them here in our community to respond, and then Tulsa communities will make up the slack up there. They do practice for this kind of thing even statewide. All these agencies get together and have disaster drills, and this is why they do it, so that they can be ready to respond in this kind of an emergency.
Newsline 9's Randy Rayner is downtown. He continues to follow what was the discovery of a third explosive device, and one that was said to be larger than the second one that was found. The first, if there was a first, and federal agents are working on that, that's a very strong possibility, went off. Second one was found disarmed at about 10:30, and a third one has been found, as we have been told, has not been disarmed yet.
Robin Marsh is standing by right now at the triage area, which is near the federal building where the blast happened. Robin?
Jennifer and Kelly, they have moved us now about another 2 blocks back. We're at 6th in Oklahoma. We're at the triage center, as you mentioned. I've got Paul and Kim here. They're medical students volunteering their time. Paul, tell us what you're expecting to come here and how many workers are here right now.
Well, initially, right after they were doing the cleanup from the initial explosion, we had 4 triage centers set up in this area around the building. And then what they did is they continued to move us up when they found the second bomb. They moved us away, and they continued to move us away until they could set this up. But we're expecting about 150 people to come in here. Now, that's what I've heard some of the other physicians talking about.
All right, so you are saying there are people still inside the building that are hurt, and are they critical? I mean, are the critical ones coming here? Is that what your impression is?
We really don't know. One of the ladies that we treated, she had some superficial wounds, some cuts and so forth on her legs. There was 12 people that were killed on her floor alone, and so they're pulling those people out of there now, and some of the others that they're bringing them down the ladders. We've treated several people, taking them from triage up to the critical care area that was a block north of the building.
How many? 6 in Robinson. How many people are here volunteering and medical attendants?
Like doctors, IMSA, and all those people? Yes. I'd say there's probably at least 75 people in there.
This is kind of a grassroots program here, because what happened, we were actually on the other side of this building. They were just laying out blankets, clearing off the glass, just setting up. Then the police came and said, you guys have to move. So now we've moved inside this warehouse. What type of equipment are they bringing inside here? They're
bringing mainly initial and primary triage type stuff. They're bringing in like gauze and pads and irrigation stuff, sutures, IVs, just basic necessities, things like that to get these people really, just cleaned up. And
right. Well, they're just trying to clean them up to send them off to the hospital.
You've already treated some people. Tell me, what were the people telling you, the people who were hurt?
Just shock. They were just totally in shock. They didn't even really talk. They were just in shock.
We understand there will be several ambulances. We've seen about 4 or 5 already come through here, treating people, taking them on to the hospital. We'll keep monitoring the situation here, guys, as they start bringing these people in for care. Dave Balut here joining me. Dave, what do you have to add?
Well, I just took a look down the street at the Morrow building again. I see another bomb truck going, so apparently they're going to try to get out that third bomb that's been talked about. Still a lot of activity around the Morrow building. Security concerns that another one still might go off. That's what everybody's worried about.
That's the reason they have moved the media, everyone back. They're putting up tape here, as you can just see.
Robin?
Go ahead.
Can you, the paramedics and folks you're talking to there, is there any need, is there anything that the citizens can provide, other medical facilities can bring in, gauze or medical supplies, personnel? What do they need?
I think the main thing they need is just help. People who are, these people are just medical students. I think they just need people here who are able to treat people. As the one man was telling us, possibly 150 people could be on their way down here. So I think, if anything, they've got boxes and boxes of supplies, Jennifer. It's just maybe having the bodies here.
Medical personnel.
Exactly.
So if you're out there and you're watching, you're a doctor, a paramedic, a nurse, somebody who can help provide emergency medical care, you could respond to any of the downtown hospitals or to the scene, I guess, if they'll let you in. I assume if you identify yourself as medical personnel.
Once again, I'm Brad Good in the Action News studio as we continue to follow this tragedy of massive proportions this morning in Oklahoma City. Here is the latest now at 9:30 on that bomb blast. A third explosive device has now been found, and it's reported to be much larger than either of the other 2 bombs found in that 9-story federal building, including the one that caused the initial blast, tearing off about 1/3 of the building. One other explosive device has been found on the scene and disarmed. We are also told 6 children that were in a daycare center on the 2nd floor were killed by the blast. At least 100 other people have been hospitalized. We know there are other fatalities there on the scene, but emergency crews have not been able to get to all of those people, so they do not have a number of dead confirmed. Governor Keating just saying that this is an incredible tragedy and a considerable loss of life. He also told CBS News that there was no warning, nothing was communicated before that blast. We will continue to follow this story out of Oklahoma City as our sister station KWTV continues to monitor the situation there in Oklahoma City.
Triage center, which is at 6th and Oklahoma now, is that they may have dozens more. I think, if I heard this correctly, perhaps more than 100 people still at the scene that need treatment, who are trapped inside, and they're having to go because they only have a limited number of ladder towers or perhaps places in the building where they can place them safely to evacuate these people down. But that they are trying to bring those people down, and that they could have another 150 headed to the triage area at the scene. If that's the case, she says there is an urgent need for additional medical personnel to respond to help out with that effort. This is video that was shot a little bit earlier today. You can still see the smoke there. This was shortly after the blast downtown, probably 15-20 minutes after we felt it shake our building here at TV9. People responded, and we could not believe what we saw as Ranger 9 put the first pictures up, swept around that building. We could see it from the backside. It didn't look too bad. And then when Ranger 9 came around, and we saw that just what our photographer on the scene told us was just half the building sliced away by man-made explosives. It's just unbelievable.
A few moments ago, Dave Balut mentioned that he had seen another bomb tech truck backing into the building. We are told a third explosive device, perhaps one more powerful than the other 2, has been found, and that they are working on that. One apparently exploded. A second one was disarmed. A third has been found. About a square mile area of downtown Oklahoma City has been evacuated, but so far only one explosion at one building, the Alfred P. Murrah Federal Building at 5th and Robinson. We're told several casualties. We do have reports that 6 children were killed, and already more than 100 people are in hospitals being treated.
All right. One of the urgent needs that they have, because of the nature of these injuries, there's a lot of blood loss. Even with injuries that might not otherwise be life-threatening, they're going to use and need a lot of blood today. If you can, you are asked to donate blood. And this is where the blood drive is going on now. This is American Fidelity at 2000 North Classen, essentially 20th and North Classen. It says East Building, which faces Western. If you get down in that area, you'll probably see the line. We are told that Oklahomans are responding. Probably if you could go in measured doses all through the day, perhaps tomorrow, and continue to give blood, that would be a good thing. The American Fidelity Building at 20th and North Classen is where they can take your blood donation, and they are urgently asking for that. They will need it.
A lot of people are obviously very concerned about relatives and friends who work in the Alfred P. Murrah Federal Building downtown Oklahoma City. Earlier we gave a phone number for you to call. They are asking us not to have anyone else call that number for a little while. Phone line is jammed. Civil Defense is telling us that right now. So please hold off from calling. If you have a loved one who has been injured, who has been taken to a local hospital, they will be contacting you.
So you may want to just, especially if you don't have call waiting, stay off the phone, because they may be trying to call you and they will not have a lot of time to sit and keep trying to call. So if you can keep your phone lines cleared. Also, because they are continuing to send in all kinds of personnel up and down the major highways and the traffic arteries in and out of downtown, if you can stay off the crosstown, I-40 crosstown, if you can stay off Broadway Extension and keep this area clear so that emergency vehicles can get in and out of that area, I think it would be much appreciated by the folks who are trying to respond.
Earlier, R.D. Rowland, a photojournalist, joined us on the set to show us some of the video he had taken just a short while ago in downtown Oklahoma City. Included among that video, we would ask you all in the control room to try to get that back up for us, was a shot of a car that looked like it was parked very near the federal building, or what was left of a car. Let's listen into this interview from obviously a victim of this blast.
Are you off?
No, they're in tape.
That was the end of that interview. We'll try to get that back again for you here before too long. But as we were saying a moment ago, there was a video of a car parked inside, in front. It looked like in front of the federal building, and it looked completely devastated. And there is some question.
Isn't that it right there?
I don't believe that may be it.
That may be it before they put the crime scene tape around it.
RD told us there was some speculation that perhaps that was the center, or could have been the center of a blast of some sort. Federal agents are again treating this as a bombing now.
We talked to Governor Frank Keating a little bit earlier. He used to be in charge of this entire area, the Justice Department. He told us, and I think essentially this is what I gleaned from what we were able to hear from the White House briefing. The federal government is sending in FBI agents and experts to our community to respond. They will be working to determine who did this and why, whether our response was adequate, I assume, and whether we had any warning, whether we, that could have avoided perhaps some of the fatalities that we've seen. But those folks are coming in from, they're on their way here now. They have been dispatched to Oklahoma City. The entire Justice Department community focused on Oklahoma City right now. We have some new video.
Well, we've got a live picture if we can bring, I believe that is a live picture, if we can bring that up. Just showing more of the federal building in downtown Oklahoma City. There it is. You can see a cameraman setting up there right now. Back behind him you can see the north side of the federal building. Behind that you can see windows blown out the opposite direction and shards of glass all over the street there. Just more evidence of the power of this explosion at about 9 o'clock in downtown Oklahoma City.
This particular building, if you're not familiar with downtown, and a lot of people don't go down there much or don't have reason to go into the federal building, it houses a lot of the office buildings. It would be where you would go to get a new Social Security card. It would be where you would go to talk to HUD. It would be, there are just something like 514 people who work in this building on a daily basis in a variety of different capacities, but a lot of members of the public in and out of the building. Tammy, do you have some information?
I'm just going to go over 100, I would bet.
A guy.
All right, Tammy, hold on just a sec. We don't have your mic up.
Herb Brown.
Do you want to try it again, or can we
Can you hear me now?
There we go.
There we
Yeah,
go.
now
Remember
we
the
can
two
hear
children I told you about
Right.
at Memorial Hospital? Two children under the age of 12 months, uninjured, fine, looking for their families, as you might imagine. We told you they were at Memorial Hospital. Now we're getting official word those children have been taken to Children's Hospital. A little boy and a little girl uninjured from the explosion at Children's Hospital at this hour, anxious to meet up with their parents. We heard from Cynthia earlier, 10 children at this point we know are being treated at Children's Hospital, and 6 children confirmed dead, but there are 2 on the way to Children's Hospital, a boy and a girl under the age of 1 year. They are not injured. We're also getting word if you have a generator, they could use it at Northeast 6th and Lincoln. Let me see, let me pass one more thing along. If you're downtown watching this and you've been involved in this mess, there is food at the Marriott Arena. Food available at the Marriott Arena at this hour downtown. Guys, we'll get back with you if we have anything else.
Okay, Tammy, thank you very much. We want to go down to the scene downtown Oklahoma City right now to Newsline 9's Gan Matthews. Gan?
This is Gan Matthews. I'm in downtown Oklahoma City, about 6-7 blocks removed from the bomb site. Joining me right now is Mindy Kepfield. Mindy is a reporter with the Journal Record. And Mindy, you were inside the Journal Record building when this happened.
Yes.
Just tell us what you saw and heard and experienced.
Well, I was just in the office and the walls moved in toward us and I was thrown on my back, and then debris from the ceiling started raining down on me and I had to kick my way out to get to the exit. There was smoke and there was debris raining down from the top, just raining, falling down.
There are, how many other employees are in your office?
In my office, about 6 or 7 employees. They all got out fine, except for a couple of them were kind of cut up pretty bad.
No serious injuries?
No serious, but our boss was got a cut on his head, pretty good laceration from glass.
And you have a slight cut here too, I see.
Yeah,
on your
just slight.
hand and arm.